Rightio, guys, welcome back to the next episode of the camper trailer build. So, originally I was going to try and do all of this in the cheapest possible way that I could do it. But my next step of this job is absolutely no way I'm able to cheap out on this one. I have to do it the right way because, for one, it's going to have a lot of weight in this camper trailer. And two, for legality reasons, it's got to go pass over the pits and actually be rated for it. So what I'm talking about is the springs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you down there and show you exactly the reason why I'm having to change out the springs. So I have been to a company here in Mandurah called Trailer All Parts. They're not sponsoring me by any ways, but I want to give a huge shout out to Trailer All Parts, especially Rob, the manager there at Trailer All Parts. He has spent, I think today, around about 3 hours of time talking me through it and getting me set up exactly the way I needed it. He could have easily just told me anything, but he actually spent a lot of time with me today. Not to mention the other day was a good hour or two talking with him and trying to suss out what I need exactly for this trailer. So a huge shout out to Rob from Trailer All Parts. They're also part of our Southwest Trailers, so massive shout out to those guys. I will show you all the components and parts that I've got from these guys, and yeah, like I said, the money side of things, I wanted to get it as cheap as I possibly could, but when it came to dealing with these trailer parts, I paid the price that I needed to pay, and I didn't argue with it whatsoever because the knowledge that he gave me was invaluable. So a huge shout out again, Rob from Trailer Parts. They are just awesome people to deal with. So if you really want to get your trailer sorted, go see those guys. They do everything from your hubs to your mechanical brakes, disc brakes, axles, even your lights, power supplies, even the gas struts, everything. I should have gone there to start with and packaged everything up, and probably may have saved myself a hell of a lot of money. So yeah, like I said, I can't reiterate that enough, that these guys have just been amazing. They're so good at what they do, and they're fully just aware of everything, and they're got so much knowledge, so it was really good. Anyway, I'm going to jump down. We'll get into this video shortly, but what I'll do is I'm going to show you the exact reason why I've had to change out these springs, and we'll show you what I'm going to do. That's the video today. I'll be installing a new axle, new leaf springs. I'm going to have to be welding the hangers, new hangers, and that's the main reason why I'm going to do it, but I'll show you. We've got ourselves two disc rotors, and these are actually for a Toyota Hilux, so that's going to lift my trailer up a heck of a lot more, having my 17-inch Hilux rims compared to the ones that were on it. So we've got Hilux rims to go on it, we've got disc brakes, we have a whole bunch of stuff. So it's going to be really fun. I'm actually excited doing this and absolutely packing myself at the same time and scared, because this has to be precise and bang on. So we're going to try and do our best to get it exactly right. If worst comes to worst, I've told in there, get them guys to fabricate it. And those guys at Trailer All Parts, they also do fabrication as well. So yeah. Anyway, I'll get under there and I'll show you exactly what we're looking at. Rightio. So it's taken me a long time to work this out, and I've actually done it the wrong way. I should never have built all of that prior to working out my suspension. So this suspension, the guys at Trailer All Parts don't even know what these are off. These are actually a 65 mil, I think they are, and they're 740 long, and they couldn't even look them up to work out. So I'm assuming the guy that built this trailer has grabbed these off of a car, or maybe they used to do them in this size. He said these are actually heavy duty rated springs, but the thing is, the way this guy has put them on, they're not working. Any load you put on these are going to snap, and I'll show you the exact reason why. So for one, this is the front end, so that's okay. We're all good with that one. The weld's pretty average, but you know, you get that on the big jobs. But up this end, this is our problem. So this here is actually supposed to be offset that way, slightly inwards. Pretty sure, yeah, it was inwards. What he's done is he's fully welded this. He's welded up in here, welded all the way over the top, welded this plate on. Basically, this is meant to be pivoting on this point. There is no way for this trailer to pivot because he's welded it. He's welded it right up here. So any kind of pressure, downwards pressure on these springs and tires is just basically going to flex, and it's got nowhere to flex. So if anything, a ton of weight on there, it's going to snap off here, and you're going to be in a world of pain. Yeah, and you're going to end up with basically this whole thing snapping off. So what I've got to do is now cut off these hangers. I'm going to take the suspension off in a minute. You see I've got it jacked up underneath just to hold the weight of the axle. I've got some tyres to hold the back end, and the front end propped up as well. I'm going to cut off these U-bolts, take off the axle altogether, get rid of that, and then we're going to already worked out a center line mark for where the axle is here. So I've got that measurement, which is good. I've also measured from the tongue of the trailer, from this corner right here, all the way back to where it meets up on the trailer just here. I've got a measurement there, and then I've done it around the other side too. I've measured from here, this corner, to the trailer as well, and they are exactly the same. So I know for one that this trailer is perfectly straight that way. I've got to take a few measurements from corner to corner, corner to corner, make sure that the chassis rail is also square and not on the... but yep, we will do all those. That's the boring bit, but yeah, what I'm going to do is get this axle off, and then we've got to basically, I've got to weld a new one of these on because this is rated for a 65. The leaf springs that I got, which I'll show you, I'm pretty sure they're a 45 wide leaf spring, but they're also a 9 pack spring. So this one here is only a 5 pack, and yeah, like I said, that problem with this hanger is it's a 6 rated, or it's made for a 65. So that's got to come off, and that's got to come off, and I've also got to then relocate my hangers, which I can use off my center mark and put the spring on the ground, work out where it's all is located, get some measurements, run back from center, and that'll give me my first hanger, run it back from center, give me my second hanger. So that should be pretty straightforward. The one thing I'll probably have a little trouble with would be the discs and the rotors, because the square axle that I've got, so this one's a round axle, I've gone for a square axle and it's solid as. It's a 68-inch axle. You've got to weld the bracket basically to hold it onto the pack for the leaf springs, so that's going to be the tricky part, and also you've got to weld the mounting brackets for the discs and all that sort of stuff, but yeah, we'll get into that later. But yeah, the main bit is trying to get these off and get all the old components out. So it's a lot of grinding and cutting, cleaning, and yeah, some manhandling. So we'll get it off and show you what it looks like once it's bare bones. Just a quick look at my brand new axle, and there's the two brand new springs. As you can see, they're a 9 pack, and yeah, they're brand spanking. So we're going to be taking, we actually have to clamp this, take that bolt off, swap it around, because I'm going to actually have my leaf springs the opposite way around, so that way we can get a bit of extra lift. So I'm going to take that off, swap it over here, and then we'll mount, this will be mounted onto here. But yeah, we'll show you all the bits and pieces. Right, in the box there is a whole bunch of stuff. So we've got all our bearings, which Rob actually did for me. So Trailer All Parts, again, another massive shout out. He packed all my bearings for me and set them all in place, so that's one less job that I have to do. So that's all the bearings. We've got the caps on the ends and all our lug nuts. He upgraded them for me for free for the chrome ones, which was awesome. So we've got all the bits and pieces there, but in this box, this is the confusing part. There's a whole bunch of stuff. These are the ones that mount onto the square tubing for the axle, and they bolt up to your disc calipers, or the discs. We've got a couple of them. These are the blocks. These will all make sense once I get into it, but that's got to get welded onto the chassis. And then it has the couple hangers that hang down like that. And then that's where this one where my finger's tapping in, that's where your spring, the leaf spring, gets bolted through to, and that one's got to be set on the right angle. We've got some U-bolts, the plate for the top, and that one also gets welded on the top of the tube, so it stops it from moving wherever it's got to go, and then it gets fully welded to the axle. And then we got our hangers, so that's our couple front hangers there that I've got to replace. So they're the ones that I was saying that have to be 45 wide, not 60 or 40 by 6, whatever it is, 45 I think, pretty sure. So that's all the components, a lot of stuff, but I will get my head around it, but we should be able to do this. Alright, what I've done is I've lopped them through both hangers. So I did cut all the U-bolts off and it didn't drop off, so I've welded it to the U-bolt, or it's just seized on there, but they're all off. Now the horrible bit of whether or not this axle is going to just drop off or not. Righto, let's see. Looks like it's hanging up on one of them at the moment over there. That might just snap off. Oh look, it came off of that one. Alright, that's all good. I'll just hit that with a hammer and get it to drop off, and then that should be the old axle out. And then the hard part is trying to get those hangers off. So, but we've got a bit more room now, so we'll see how we go. Rightio, I'm going to show you how we assemble the leaf springs and get the hanger gaps right, and correct me if I am wrong, but this is how Rob showed me. So what we've got up this end is that the hanger, we've got that just sorry, up this end we've got the hanger. We just want that to be sit, so that gets welded up to the chassis rail. I'm pretty sure I'm right there, unless it's the, no, that's right. Yep, so I am right. So that's going to get just softly bolted there just to hold it. We've got we know our center, because there's our center of our pack. It's right there. Now with this end, we have these, basically these two brackets, whatever you want to call them. So we've got one on the top, one on the bottom, and then we've got this big square tube. So this one here gets welded to the chassis up the top as well. He said mine, the way they were orientated was actually facing the opposite way. They're meant to be inwards like that, so when this gets the spring, it'll spring upwards that way. Alright, and this is towards the back of the trailer, mind you. But he said also the tips are getting that angle, because obviously this can be wherever you want it, and then that'll determine where that gets welded. He said the best way to do it is to get a steel ruler, preferably a straight one, straight there. And what you want to do is make that so that's 90 degrees. So we'd have to tilt that, move that sort of here. It's a bit hard to sort of work this out without it being on a bench, but I'm assuming that's probably pretty close to being 90 degrees. And then that gives us that angle. So now all we got to do is, because I've already got our center line marked on our trailer already where the hubs, the old exact axle was, we know where that is positioned. So all I got to do is now measure from here to here, or the opposite end, but probably here. So we just run a square up from here, measure across and get out a measurement there, and then we'll do exactly the same at the other end. We'll level up and take a measurement to the edge of this as well, and that will give us where our two hangers are going to be. And then what we do is just transfer that onto the chassis rail, and then yeah, basically take all this back apart, put this up there, get a magnet on it, tack it in, tack that one in, put the springs on, see if it makes it, see if it fits correctly. It will be able to. The beauty of it is, even if I did have it slightly off, it just meant that angle there is just a slightly bit off as well, but we will make sure we've got that pretty good. Like I said, I'll put this up on a flat bench and position all of this so it's level and square, and then we'll be able to work out a 90 off of that, or angle up. But yeah, it's pretty important to get that as close as you can, but like I said, it's also adjustable slightly, so we're pretty good there. But I think this part shouldn't be too hard. This is a bit I was actually worried about, but I think now that I'm looking at it, it's going to be easy. All right, another thing I will be doing is, like I said, this here's the spring pack. You see the nut on the back. It's got to be the other way around, so I need that nut to be on this end and this piece up there, so it locates into the top of one of these brackets, which then mounts onto the thing. So that basically will switch it to be the spring over the axle instead of the spring under the axle. It's perfectly legal to do that, so that's what we're going to do. Is just yeah, I've just clamped it so these spring packs don't want to spring apart. I'll give it a good tighten, and then we'll take them bolts out and see if we can spin them around. He said they can, but yeah, looks like it's going to be a mission, but we'll see how it goes. Rightio, so that bolt's off now, and it actually does want to come out, which is good. So I'm hoping I can get it back in there, but yeah, we're going to try and pull that out, switch it around. Rightio, here we go. So now you can see what I'm talking about. So the actual nut is now on the top, and the locator spring is on the bottom, whereas just here you can see this one is on the bottom and that one's on the top. So all I gotta do now is do this one, take that bolt off, whack it through, put it on that side. Yeah, and then that's a quite simple, easy job, and that makes them leaf over axles. Rightio, that's one chassis rail cut off. I was literally thinking this was going to be a mission and a half, but it was actually pretty easy. Just cut all the way around, and then I just belted it with a hammer and literally just peeled off. So yeah, it was, like I said, it was a pretty average weld, but they did what most welders do. They did lots is best. So I did a lot of welds around it, so it was pretty tough. But yep, we will get the other ones off. I don't know how or what I'm going to do with this one yet, but I might just hack it apart until I can get it. And I think I might keep this little lip plate in there instead of trying to take that off. I think that won't affect the ride on the suspension anyway, so we'll do that, I reckon. Just yeah, cut all this off and then work on the other side. Rightio, so here is what I'm hoping will work. So what I've done is just set a square between there, because I want it to be center of that locator nut and center of that screw that comes through the other side. I've also made this spring, from what I can tell, was pretty even and 90 perpendicular to that, whatever, to the trailer. I've also got that, which I am pretty happy that's 90 degrees, or you know, straight up and down. And then also at this other side, I've got this ruler which I think is 90 degrees that way, and I've got it so it's got that what I was saying, that that angle, the perfect angle for this. So I think this will work, and all I got to do now is take a measurement from the edge of this block back to my level or square, and then that'll determine basically from this center mark back this way, well, the other way, but yeah, we'll do it from both. So it'll be that one, which will give us our first hanger, and then that way will give us our second hanger. And you see I've left that plate on, and I actually have ground them back and cleaned them up as best as I could for now, because that'll get tacked on. So yeah, fingers crossed that little jiggy jig works, and you don't have to do it for each one. I'm just going to do the one and lay both of them out accordingly, because I know that this trailer is square, so we're pretty good there. So fingers crossed this works. Alright, so get into position here. What we've got is our center line. I've worked out it was 339 this way, 349 this way. So what I've done is 339, bang, there's a mark. 349, bang, there's a mark. The other thing I did was transferred it on the other side, and I took a measurement from the front of our trailer here, ran it all the way up, and I got 601. And let's just see how close this actually is. And it's very difficult one-handed. As you look at that, it is bang, dead on. So it's exactly the same. So the only other measurement I will take will be from the front to this one, and then from the front on the other side to that one, and see if they are exactly the same. And if they are, that just means now I've just got to tack those hangers right there and right there, and that should be it. Oh, fingers crossed. Rightio, so here we go. That's the configuration we're going with. So I've got my mark down, and I've just got magnets holding it on there. And same up this end, I've got 2 magnets holding the other one. So in theory, that should be exactly it. So we will see. We'll tack it on, and yeah, see how it goes. But yeah, and then just basically replicate the other side before we put everything together. We'll make sure, take a few measurements, tack it, get the measurements again just to double check, and then we'll do the other side, tack it and get the measurements again, and see how that one works. But yeah, I'm hoping that is right. I'm pretty confident, so yep, we'll go with it. Rightio, so I've managed to get it in. It's all fully welded all the way around. I'm pretty happy with the welds. Alright. And yeah, so I've got it mounted. I haven't tightened anything up, and that top one still needs the sleeve in it. I managed to lose a bolt, a nut, so I don't know where that's gone, but I'll have to try to find it, or I'll have to buy another one. But yeah, it's center line to center line, worked out pretty bloody good. So now I've just got to do the other side, and then yeah, then we'll rip these up nice and tight, and yeah, torque them, and then we've got to work out the diff. But yeah, we'll get on to doing the other side. Got it clamped up at the moment, just got to set it in place, and then we'll go and weld those other 2 hangers in and see what happens. But yeah, pretty wrapped. So that's, like I said, that's welded, full seamed all the way around, and same as on that side. And I'll clean it up, paint it, put the sleeve in, tighten it up, and that's one side done. Rightio, there we go. That's both springs now. Absolutely came out perfect. So just the only thing I've got to do is this side here. My welder's being a pain in the butt, and I started yelling and throwing stuff, so I might give the neighbours a rest for a little while and get back on it tomorrow. It's the way to do it, is just stop and rethink it tomorrow. But yeah, it's pretty good. I'm happy with that. So all I was going to do now is set up this axle. So there's the axle. She's a solid girthy girl, that one. So I've got to I've done this one up. All I got to do is drop a split pin in here, bend it out, and that one's done. So I've just got to drop on this other disc brake on the other side, and then work out this whole thing. He said this little bracket is what holds your disc brakes, so that's got to be welded on, and he said they make them sloppy so you can tilt it back just a fraction like that, and then tack that one in and give it a full seam weld all the way around. And then we've got to get the brakes on. So this one's going to be pretty tricky for me, so I'm just going to play around just for now, but I might put the other hub on and get the brakes out and just actually have a bit of a play and have a look and see what I can do. But yeah, it's going to be fun, and plus with my welder. And I probably won't do it on here because I will never get the thing back off again because it's so freaking heavy. But yeah, I'll set it up somewhere so I can actually play around with it and see what I can do. Righto, so here is the mechanical brake caliper by Load Force. So this is basically what they look like. That's the bit that the cable comes out to. It just comes in a box just like this. And yeah, that's our calipers, brakes, all included. Yeah, not sure. We'll work it out. Alrighty guys, just before I call it a night, I have set up the brakes. So I'll let you know, you've got this little metal plate which I showed you before, which is the bracket, which houses the calipers to the axle. So this has to be
welded along here, and down the back. So the way you find out your measurement for where this is going to be situated is you want to have between here and where your calipers are, you'll notice there's a gap. You want a tiny bit of a gap just there. You want a gap, make sure you've got a gap between this place here of the caliper and of the actual rotor itself, or the disc. So you want to make sure there's a gap there, and same on this end, you've got a gap. And the other one he said to look out for, which is very difficult now that it's night time, you might be able to see, might have to show you that one tomorrow, but you'll basically, where your pads come through in here, you want to make sure the pads aren't touching up against the actual drum itself, or the rotor. So you want a gap there as well. I thought you might just have to put that plate in, hold it and weld it, but you don't. These bolts here actually thread into this plate, so you thread that bolt in on both sides. There's another one just there, so you tighten both of them up, and then you also, what you want to do is lock your calipers tied up against the disc with this one here. So you basically tighten that right off and lock it with this locking one, and that will get you these gaps, so that gap and the one under here. So you want to set that so this they're not touching and rubbing anywhere, and then you lock it off and you tighten those bolts up there, and then you make sure you've got that one gap. Alright, there we go. So that's just tacked in place now, so it's not going to move anywhere. So I can basically bolt all the disc caliper, take that off and do a full weld all the way around that. I'm going to disperse the heat too, so I'm going to do a little bit down the bottom, move to the other side, and then run it off the top as well, so that way it's not bowing. He did say you didn't need to do the other side. I might just tack on the other side so it doesn't want to lift up, but I think yeah, he said something about having the weld all on one side. I can't remember, but I will apply a few more. So yeah, I've just got to do the other side now, get that set up in place, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, I think that'll this will work out pretty good. Alright, so I've fully welded that up. Pretty good welds, well, I think. It's okay. And I ended up doing both sides. I'm not sure if that was right or wrong, but I just feel that it's going to be a lot more stronger this way. Full seaming them up, and yeah, that side's all done. That side's not the greatest, but yeah, it'll hold. And then yeah, same deal here. Full seamed that over, and yeah, this other side. So I'm just going to flip it so I can actually just weld the tabs under here as well. So I'm just going to spin it on the axle, clean it up, give it a spray, and then that's that done. We can put the hubs back on. Yeah, you notice I've taken the hubs off to weld it, but yeah, put the hubs back on, and we'll go with the next part, which is trying to line up, getting the axle centered to the rest of the vehicle. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this by myself, but we'll try. Alright, so I put the sleeve in there and torqued those up pretty tight. I'll have to ask the guys what if there is a torque setting for these so they can spin, but yep. Next thing I've got the axle underneath just sitting on some stands, so I've got to raise it up till it meets up. We've got these here which actually locate in there, so I've got to raise it up till it hits there, and then the next thing is to get the measurements out to be the exact same distance apart. So that's going to take a lot of brain work, and you've got to measure from here to the front of your trailer, and then on the same the other side, and also your distance out from your trailer as well, which is, like I said, it's going to take a bit of brain work to get it, but I'll get it in the end, I reckon. So we're going to just try and set this up. I managed to get it all by myself, which is pretty good. So yeah, we'll just try and I'm going to get the jack underneath the middle so I can keep raising it and bringing up the engine stand, the stands as well, so it's in place. But yeah, I think this part should be pretty basic and straightforward. Alrighty, so I've got the U-shackles in place, and they're, well, I have got it right, so I've tightened these two up just slightly. But what you want to do is measure off your spring pack to the top of your bracket. So I've got basically 85 to the edge
of my plate, and you'll notice too that I had it around the wrong way from the last video. That's how your brake calipers bolt on that way, and then the cable runs to the front. So yeah, make sure they're the right way, otherwise you're gonna have to take it all off again. One other thing I did too is I just threw a level on and just got the level of the trailer, made sure that that axle was coming up straight. Probably doesn't matter, but it was just one little extra thing that I did. So yeah, I've got 85 on that side, and if you come around to this side, we've also got 85, slightly a little less than 85, so I might undo that just slightly and just bring it across a tiny bit. But yeah, you want to make sure that those measurements are right, so that way your tyre is going to be in the exact spot for both of those. So we shall see how we go, but yeah, move that just a tiny bit, tighten these up, tighten all them up, and then what we'll do is we'll run the measurements from here to the front of the hitch as well, and see if that's bang on. If that's not, it's going to be very difficult to adjust because of those hangers already in place, but yeah, we'll go. And then once we've done all that too, then we now will tack and weld on that little U plate, and that stops the axle from moving back and forth this way. So here, nearly there, it's looking good. Alright, so they're tightened up now, the gaps are even. I've run the tape from the corner of this stub axle all the way to the front of the trailer and got 2440 measured on the other side, and you never believe it, it's 2440 exactly as well. So that means that those springs are in the exact same spot. The axle's perfectly straight and won't cause wear and tear on the tyres, but yeah, that's absolutely perfect. So all I've got to do now is, last little bit is just welding up this little bracket here to the axle so it doesn't move. So maybe a couple little buzz, or a little bit of a buzz in the middle there, buzz on the back here, buzz on the other side, and then on the other side, and give it all 4 spots. And then yeah, so basically 8 little welds. Then I'll put the calipers on, and yeah, pretty much be able to bolt my tyres up, whack them on, see how it fits, and hopefully I don't have to change these guards and bring them out further, but it should, from our measurements, it should work absolutely perfect. So we'll see how it goes. Alright, there we go. So I've welded them and wire brushed them up as well, so I've just beaded them underneath on that side. You probably can see it on the back, I don't know. Yeah, did a bead on the back there too, front, and then again on the underside, and same as that one, just wire brushed them, and then I'll give them a clean up, just wipe them down, and then yeah, I'll give them a spray as well so they're not rusting away. But yep, that's it. So now we just got to mount the rotors and then tyres, so that should all line up perfect now. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this suspension build is pretty much finished. A couple little things to do and then we're done. Rightio. So I did just brush them over with some the metal shield paint, and now I've just got to do up the hub. So I've just slipped it over and just I'll tighten that with a rattle gun, slip the split pin in, and then we can go ahead and hopefully mount the brakes. And yeah, hopefully that's got enough room. But yeah, it looked alright when I first mocked it up. So I've just got to put this one on, put the other one on, and then we'll attach the brakes, and yeah, leave it at that. Alrighty guys, these brakes are now mounted up, tightened off, and you'll notice they do have wobble in them. He said that's normal, they're meant to have a slight wobble. So we've got these arms, which you can see just there pointing out. So basically when your disc is spinning and that arm gets pulled, that locks off the brake. So yeah, just got to get the cables now, run through to the front of the car, which I haven't got yet, but so that's that. So I'm just going to test to see if the wheel actually fits under here. We'll go around to the other side, put the other wheel on, and then we'll lower it down, or jack it up, get the tyres out, and then lower it down and see if it sits all right on the trailer and doesn't hit the guards. But yeah, we'll see if we can get this wheel.
one thing I want to double check too is the clearance around the back of the tyre, which it feels like it's good. And even maybe they're sticking out a little bit, but we'll see. But yeah, I'll get these wheel nuts tightened up. We'll go through to the other side and then drop the other wheel on and do, like I said, just jack it up and see what happens. But I think this is going to make this so much taller. These rims are just a monster, so maybe due for some new tyres soon as well, so we might have to get some tyres before this series ends. But yeah, it's absolutely wrapped. I did it. And it doesn't, the discs don't touch my wheels either, and doesn't touch the spring. The only other thing I've got to put on, actually, there's a little plate that goes on the back of the springs, and then you bend the tab over. That's one last little thing that I can do, but that's going to be from behind, so happy with that. So yeah, we'll get on with it and go to the other side and get this other tyre on. Alright, so both rims are on now. So what I've got to do is basically just back this off now and see how she sits on the ground. Oh yeah, we are rolling. So all I've got to do is jack the front up, put the jockey wheel back on and take those braces that I put on, but I'll be able to see the actual ride height in a second, which is pretty exciting because I want to know if Jackie's going to fit under there. But that's the inside look of what's happened. So I'm pretty bloody wrapped, to be honest. It's come up pretty freaking good. All worked absolutely perfectly. So yeah, I'll go and jack the front up and then we'll get a ride height and we'll wrap the video. Alright, so it's off its thing now, and straight away, I don't know if you'll be able to see it with my head, but I've got absolutely tons of room between me and the door, and I'm assuming Jackie's going to easily do it. So yeah, we have lifted this so much just by putting them bigger tyres on. It actually sits pretty high off the ground up there too, so I'm not sure what we do there, but I'm getting a D-Max soon, so might be able to get that, or the Hilux ball once it's on. We might be able to get there, whatever. But I'm happy because she's lifted right up off the ground now, so we've got no issues with Jackie hitting her head. And we've now got mechanical brakes, so yep, wrapped. And see what I mean, this is height, this is up to the middle of my thigh, so she's pretty tall. Yeah, that's it. The only other thing left for me to do is basically these two little brackets that go on the back, so I've got to take the bolts back off, put them on, and then we'll do it from there. But yeah, other than that, she's pretty much sweet. So yeah, good stuff. Rightio guys, that's this episode. So yeah, I did a fair bit. I got the suspension. The suspension was a pretty big job, epic job, and it all worked out great. So I've actually got Jackie out here and lifted up the doors, and she actually fits under it, which is the whole purpose, the main reason why I started wanting to do the suspension. Wanted to lift it up a bit higher with bigger tyres, and then happened to need to do the suspension anyway. So yeah, once again, a big shout out again to these guys here, which we got their little stickers. So they do the Southwest trailers and the trailer all parts. So there's their phone number there if you need to get hold of them. But yeah, go see Rob, tell him Hoop sent you, and yeah, he, like I said, absolute legend for helping me out like that, and I would never have been able to work any of this out without him actually going through it with me and telling me. So I actually appreciate him doing that. So Rob, if you're watching, you're a bloody legend. But yeah, that's the video for today. We'll get on to it the next time. We might be maybe installing the drawers, we might be doing the cladding for the walls. Yeah, who knows, we might be building the cupboard for the cooking and all that sort of stuff. A bit more fabrication work to do, but yeah, it's actually getting so much closer now to get it actually licensed. I'm pretty stoked, and I'm pretty wrapped with these wheels as well and how they fit within the guard. So we got the measurements absolutely spot on, so yeah, we're absolutely wrapped. So
we'll leave you guys with that one. Don't forget to subscribe if you like what you're watching so far. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and yeah, give us a comment if there's anything you're seeing that's a little bit funny, or if you need to ask me some questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. But anyway, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace out, stay moist.